Tekken Tag Tournament is still a great game. I like to take breaks from grinding the newest Tekken so it won't feel like a job to me, and in doing so, I've come to notice that these older titles in the series have a certain charm or feeling to them which the newer ones lack. I'm not biased either, since I wasn't even in my dad's sack when most of these came out. I'll explain with this one. Released in arcades during the summer of 1999, Tag Tournament is a follow-up to Goliath that was Tekken 3, albeit a non-canon spin-off that brings back every Tekken character introduced up to that point. Like some King of Fighters Dream Match type shit. And what I love about Tekken Tags is seeing everyone be here regardless of continuity. It feels like a warm celebration of the series and how far it's come whenever that respective title is released. And damn bruh, I feel like a hipster, cause personally, I think this game is pretty much just a better Tekken 3. But not too many people seem to bring you up as much when it comes to reminiscing over the older titles. The arcade version of Tag was an upgrade kit for Tekken 3 that ran on the same Namco System 12 board, and as such, it looks nearly identical to it. From the character models to the stages, if you didn't see KAZUYA tagging out, two kings tossing some poor bastard around, or Unknown and her goo covered polygonal cheeks, I wouldn't blame you if you thought it was Tekken 3. That's not the version of this game that everyone remembers though. It got ported as a launch title for the PlayStation 2, and just saying ported is quite the understatement actually. The graphics and textures were overhauled as hell. I mean, just look at this. You don't need some dork on YouTube to explain this to you right. I want to say this was around the time when consoles were finally catching up to the arcades in terms of visual quality, but I don't know, I wasn't there. From what I've read though, people at the time were going wild over the individual blades of grass on Eddie's stage. The lightning effects on Hwoarang's looks amazing too. I doubt it could have been ported to a PS1 anyways given the RAM limitations. Like in the Marvel vs. Capcom 1 port, you can't even tag in that unless you and your opponent choose the same team. So not only was the PS2 capable of far more detailed and expressive models, but the stages also benefited from background NPCs and improved lighting. You know, the stage is not just a backdrop anymore. The stage locations themselves are lifted from Tekken 3, but now they're completely redesigned and feel so much more alive due to all this added detail that helps give off this certain ambience to each of them. Eddie's stage is probably the most gorgeous one. It's a tropical island with a beautiful sunset in the distance, the cool breeze blowing against the grass and trees, all accompanied by this insane electronica banger that makes you feel like you're in an actual rave. Like dog, I can't afford a green screen, but if I had one right now, I'd be showing you how I get down to this. This is some real mosh pit shit, I say. Xiaoyu's stage is definitely my personal favorite. It's very memorable and based on Namco's own theme park from the 90s called Wonder Eggs. You got the carousel spinning in the back, the different shops surrounding the plaza, and the best song in the game is playing. Just listen to this, man. It's so groovy and sounds like the perfect roller skating jam. Or the Mishima Zaibatsu school that HEIHACHI owns and is where Jin and Xiaoyu attend at. He has a golden statue of himself in front of it, cause that's totally something HEIHACHI would do. The stage has two versions, one during broad daytime where class is in session and you can see students lined up for PE, about to do a fitness grand patient test or something. Then one during the evening, everyone is chilling after school, cheering on and spectating the fight. You can see Panda in the distance, the sun is reflecting off the building's windows, and it all just kinda gives me this nostalgic feeling of when I would stay after school late. Whether it was cause I missed my bus or had detention, there'd always still be people outside on school grounds as the sun was setting. Except there wasn't a cool panda and nobody would wait to fight after school. The soundtrack was rearranged for the PS2's improved audio output, and god, that shit bumps. Yoshimitsu's theme is iconic. And who could ever forget about the dramatic staff roll that played over every single enemy? Some of it grows on you, like at first when I listened to Hwarang and then Jin's theme, you know, the one that goes like rum rum. I was like, the fuck is this, bro? But no, the user synthesized vocals are dope, and you'll notice it's something that's frequently used throughout the soundtrack that further gives that Y2K future is now type of feeling. Everyone's got cellulars now. Come get the big New Yorker at Pizza Hut for just $8.99. With all this being said, I still don't believe the PS2 version renders the arcade one totally obsolete. There's just something sweet about seeing the Tekken 2 cast in 3 style, and those PS1-ish environments featured with the original soundtrack. It's still a whole vibe in itself that should be appreciated. One thing you should note though, is that the PS2 version does not play differently from the arcade despite all these enhancements. Also, it cannot be stated how important Tag Tournament was to the development of the fighting game community. It's credited with birthing true competitive Tekken before it would eventually boom with Dark Resurrection. People began to organize proper events surrounding the game. Korean backdashing was widely spread, forever changing how Tekken was played. Meta began to form, and the scene we know today was born. It's cool watching how great players will utilize some of the broken shit in this game. And it's interesting to see that despite how different it was, you can still spot some practices that are used in competitive Tekken today. EVO 2005 is a really fun watch. It's also the last year that Tag Tournament was featured. And yo, forgive my ignorance, but I didn't know Alex Valle played Tekken back in the day. He did good too, placing 3rd in the official tournament sponsored by Namco, which was held at Wonder Eggs. The game is still played today, and the meta is still evolving, especially in countries like Peru. And yeah, it's fun to mash buttons in. It's a fine game. But we got the rest of the video to get nerdy with the details involving that. Cause another thing I love is how some of the cast's alternative outfits capture that late 90s, early 2000s fashion that was popular at the time. Julius is probably my favorite. Hers is pretty cute. And everyone knows how fly King's was with his gray sweats and the crispy Air Max sensations. That's my motherfucking Mexican. Jin's biker getup is super rad. They need to bring this back. Yoshimitsu has this goated Tekken 3 design. I don't know if people wore shit like this in the 90s, but they need to bring this back. Then Eddie in his purple jersey with his shades and jean shorts look like he. Okay, maybe I'm kinda reaching, but I hope Tekken 8 has more grounded outs like these. Not that generic ass one fits everyone customization, but casual wear specific to individual characters that would actually seem like something they wear, maybe inspired by current popular trends. It's why I love Tekken 4's character design so much. My bias aside, it's nice to look back at the characters' garments from that era and see how they embody the fashion of that time. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, really I just wanna see Jin wear a Gucci belt. I fuck with his Tekken 8 fit though. Wait, my favorite part of the tag installments has got to be seeing all the Tekken characters interact in unique ways we can never see in the mainline installments. Like HEIHACHI spanking his adopted son Lee, Hwarang and his mentor Beck performing Taekwondo in unison, Michelle rejecting Ganryu's creepy ass, Lei and Wang chilling on the floor, Nina kicking Brian in the nuts, and him actually liking it too. Damn, this man was ahead of his time with his kinks. I know, I'm such a nerd for this, but I just really love these kinds of interactions, since we usually don't see much of that in the genre. It's why I love the dialogue in Project Cross Zone if you've ever heard of that. The 3DS RPGs developed by Monolith Soft, featuring characters from Namco, Capcom, and Sega. Real shit, the Tekken characters in that and Namco Cross Capcom are better written than in their own games. Everyone besides the Mishimas are a joke nowadays. Alright, let's talk about the gameplay in detail already. For starters, the movement in this game has more mobility in Tekken 3's and Tekken 7's. The backdashing distance was insane. All you had to do was cancel 1 or 2 backdashes and your opponent is pretty much out of range. Then the sidestepping as well. For some characters during a match, you just take 2 steps to the left and you're already in your opponent's ass. But the movement wasn't the only thing this game was generous with. Combos were easier to do since hitboxes were big, and the decreased pushback during juggles increased the potential of them. Then there's the throws that are basically impossible to break on reaction. I'd argue they're actually pretty cheap in this game. No scrub shit, for real. You try taking them. This bear hug is annoying. And yeah, as you can see, this is probably the most violent Tekken. Some of these throws are just straight up brutal. You can hear the bones snap and shit. But enough new balling. I must explain the tag mechanics, which is obviously what makes this game shine. You just press the dedicated tag button to tag in and tag out. You can tag in your other character after a successful launch, and if you manage to pick it up with the other, it's pretty fun and satisfying to do. Standard tagging is unsafe though. You're just leaving yourself wide open to eat a death fist. But most characters can cancel into a block, unless they have a backflip. Being able to safely cancel your tag into a block was extremely important in competitive play. Some characters have special cancels, like Xiaoyu in the taunt and Lee's hitman stance, if you want to be flashy with it. Speaking of flashiness, raw tagging during the heat of battle can be a bit boring though. That's why there's an alternative. Every character and the partner gets a universal throw, where they toss the opponent between each other like a hoe, showcasing some of their signature moves when they tag in, such as the Chang stomping on your head, and the Mishima's doing the goofy demon scissors flip, where they land on their back. Even better, if you choose a combination of fighters that are lore related, or have some relation between them, you get access to a unique command throw, and these are really neat to see. A couple of my favorites include King diving from the heavens to perform this absolutely wild clothesline, the Williams sisters snapping your limbs together, this badass Hwarang side throw, the Jacks tossing you around and breaking your back, and I think this is called a bulldog. Tag 1 also introduced the Netsu system, which is pretty much the earliest version of the rage mechanic that you see in Tekken today. The way it works in this game, if you're just getting your shit rocked, the life bar of your partner will flash red and they'll obtain a damage boost once they get tagged in. But the damage multiplier entirely depends on how much they like their tag partner. For example, Forrest Law will absolutely not stand there and watch his boy Paul get his ass beat. So again, Netsu after Paul has only taken 4 hits. Forrest is the real one. Then there's KAZUYA, who won't get Netsu until Jun has taken 10 hits, which might as well be death in the game with this much damage. Doesn't surprise me really. KAZUYA doesn't seem like the type to keep in touch with his baby mama or pay child support. He doesn't even gain Netsu if his own son is in trouble, no matter what. Golly, this man is a menace. Last mechanic I want to talk about that's introduced in this game, the universal low parry. Some had it in Tekken 3, everyone gets it now, although it wasn't nearly as good as today's. Same input, a down forward, then you toss your limb to the side and gain plus frames of advantage. Free punish. Yeah, not as good as getting a full albeit scale combo like in later games, but because of what it will eventually become, it's definitely one of my favorite mechanics in the entire series. Crouching in Tekken is risky as is, because you might eat a nasty mid or get launched. So the fact that you can blow up anybody for any low no matter how seemingly safe is something I think is pretty cool. Just my opinion though. Something that's not an opinion though is how the Mishimas dominate this game at a high level. Each one had access to a Ryan of the Wind God Fist that was a special mid instead of a high. So you can't simply duck to avoid them, you got crouch guard, which still gives them the advantage because of pushback. The non-electrics didn't have pushback against standing opponents, but all you needed was the right spacing to keep them safe, no big deal. Could you imagine how annoying the Mishima matchup would be if all this was the case today? Psych, I play Mishimas, so I wish this shit was still in the game. That plus some insane movement and mid-low mix-ups from wave dash, it's just a nightmare to deal with. Mishimas are scary, bro. Like imagine you go outside at night, take out the trash, and you just see this ripped half-naked ass dude wave dashing towards you. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sure if the newer Tekkens have this, but the Wind God Fist in this one has a swift wind sound effect to him. It sounds straight out of a cartoon. KAZUYA's Tekken 2 grunts are cool too.
Kicking my game like Tekken Tag.
Let's take a look at Jin first, the Tekken 3 poster boy that almost everyone had on their team at a competitive level. He's not as busted as he was in Tekken 3, which is a whole nother can of worms, but he might still be the best character in the game. Laser Scraper does big boy damage, and his Piss Baby easy to land, making him the ideal partner to tag in for combo damage. His electric when God Fist turns into a special mid if you tag out with it. Special mids can be blocked in standing or crouching guard, unlike regular mids. So you will mix up his hell sweeps with while standing too, which is a regular mid that's unpunishable on block. Alright then, so you keep getting up, every time he knocks you down, you're just gonna get trapped in this 50-50 vortex. So I guess the better option would be to just stay down right. Wrong. He has a steel pedal which can hit you grounded until you get back up so he can continue terrorizing you. Get fucked, scrub. He also laughs at you if you gain your ass beat to further pour salt in the wound. Lastly, Jin has this cool Omen stance that you might remember from Tag 2. You can only do it if he's paired with HEIHACHI. He does his little karate pose, then his neutral stance changes to mimic HEIHACHI's. The devil mark on his forehead appears and he gains access to a true mid-electric, along with a handful of traditional Mishima moves. The pushback on some of these is crazy, but he also hurts himself. The Omen stance is a callback to his Tekken 3 ending. You know, the one where his grandpa just busted a cap in him, proceeded to G-walk away, and the amount of disrespect literally awoke the devil within Jin. A burden he inherited from his father KAZUYA, who is much younger and slimmer here, since it's his Tekken 2 version. One huge ass ducktail, no wrinkles on his face, no glowing red eye, or any scars besides a huge one across his torso. Him and Jin look like brothers in this game. He's featured prominently in the marketing and promotional material, like Guess Who's Back after being tossed into a volcano 4 years earlier. I can imagine how Tekken heads felt about his return at the time, being replaced by his son as the main protagonist and all. I would have thought killing off the series' Ryu was a ballsy move by Namco that got blown up in their face, but Jin's fresh and youthful look screamed 90s and was definitely a huge hit at the time. But forget Jin, cause damn, I swear KAZUYA is the waviest fighting game character of all time. That's my game's protagonist, yes sir. We didn't get his black suit from the intro, but his glistening purple pimp suit is just so iconic that it's more than fine. It's hard to imagine KAZUYA without his iconic electric, but he actually didn't have it until Tekken 4. He did sugarcoat it, I guess. But the thing was, he didn't need it. He had a regular special mid when God Fist that hit like a truck. His Demon God Fist is safe at point blank and does stupid damage on clean hit. He also got a stature smash kick that gives him huge plus frames. Check out this sick counter hit when God Fist combo that's guaranteed if you time it right. Unfortunately, that's the flashiest you'll get with him alone though. He has a weak solo combo game, so typically uses tagging his son to finish the job instead. KAZUYA's game plan was the same as today, apply the infamous 50-50 vortex, but in this case, you would mix his hell sweeps with twin pistons out of wave dash. His twin pistons were also 10 frames, so if you whiff a single high against him, your ass is eating a launcher. Also featured was KAZUYA's reflection that stares back at him, the devil. This was before it was retconned to be a gene, it was more of an entity signifying that KAZUYA sold his soul. I kinda liked it more that way, but whatever, it's alright, it's whatever. Devil KAZUYA has his classic Tekken 2 design, the long tail, sharp claws, spiky hair, and eerie eyes. Now this is scary. No pants either, so you know he lets his nuts hang. The modern design's not that bad, but I mean, it's just purple Kaz. It's like if I woke up one day and my skin was blue. Like, okay bro, and nobody gives a fuck? Actually, his final form is pretty sick, but it doesn't help me push that old or new narrative that gamers are obsessed with. So we're just gonna ignore that. Now, I lied about Jin maybe being the best character in the game. It's actually Devil. He's like playing this game on dummy mode. Like for real, I wouldn't be surprised if you would get your ass beat back then for picking him. Unlike Vanilla Kaz, Devil can do his twin pistons launcher without needing to crouch. So mix this up with his hell sweep style wave dash, and congratulations, you won Tekken Tag Tournament. Just substitute hop kick with twin pistons to lots of big body characters. He has some really cool moves, like Devil Twister, where he takes a step to the side and yeets the poor soul into high heaven, then shoot a laser, pew, pew. His lasers are actually really linear though, and really easy to avoid, unless you're a tool like me. His dragon uppercut gets the Heaven's Gate extension, where he flies off screen and comes back down, smashing your face into the ground. Then that one where he just punches through you, teleports through your body, leaving you stunned. It looks sick. And he has better reach and more health than everyone else in the roster. The Hey Man wasn't as good as the other Mishimas, but he was still good. He had an electric that hit special mid naturally. The only catch was that you couldn't wave dash into it. If you catch someone crouching, just do a right split kick into an electric and you get a guaranteed launch. I'm pretty sure you could spam this shit all day since it leaves you a mile away on block. And he also had a better Death Fist game than Paul. Yeah, this game has the worst version of Paul in Tekken history. He was kinda dookie here. But wait, amongst all this chaos, there's two big green hairy men who stood toe to toe with the Mishimas despite of all their privilege. Ancient Ogre and True Ogre. They couldn't dash in your face and schmoove like the Mishimas, they just had easier cheese and some more broken stuff. They had really fast unblockables and launchers galore. They also stole Wang's waning moon throw, which is like the best throw in the game. Damn, that old man can't have shit. There's this infamous tag dive cancel that's guaranteed with the throw, but I'm too dog water to demonstrate it myself. Sorry old heads. Regular Ogre had a huge sidestep with this trip to complement it called Azteca Shoot. Cheap stuff. True Ogre is a lion snake bird thing. I don't know what the hell he is, but he's pretty cute. He has flames that are cool and he can fly to escape combos. Yeah, you heard that right. It's pretty funny. He also has ridiculous reach, ranged mix-ups, and tech roll catches for days. It's too bad his sidestep was ass, and he was combo food for some characters like Bruce and the Changs. The Changs and Bruce are actually up here in terms of the tier list. Yeah, Mishimas weren't the only ones that dominated this game, I lied. Bruce was pretty good. He has like a million jab strings that do dumb damage on counter hit, a couple safe launchers, and a funny move with his knee strikes, which always manages to pick up whenever you swear it couldn't. Shit melts health bars and combos. Michelle and Julia will clap cheeks with their throw game, seemingly endless juggles, counter hit tools, Oki, just take my word for it. The gap between them and the rest of the cast is pretty big, but it doesn't mean the upper mid tiers weren't viable at all. They just had to work extra hard and abuse whatever gimmicks or quirks Namco blessed them with. Armor King had his throw game, the dark upper, which is a fantastic whiff punisher, and he has the best sidestep in the game, period. Lei had his haha step, this canceling technique that was unique to him and was like Korean backdash on crack. It paired well with these infinite stages, so the top tiers want to punk him with their shenanigans, he can just lane them out until it's timeout. You can see this used against the Ogres and Kimbo vs Jackie Chan at EVO 2003. Man, fuck tier list though. Tekken is known for its wacky and memorable roster of characters, so it'd be a shame if we didn't highlight some of the rest that made an appearance. Jun Kazama made her return alongside Kazuya, Jin's mother for the two people who didn't know. She's a queen, what else is there to say? I always found it interesting how she's had so much influence on the story, despite only having one canonical appearance with Tekken 2. But Tekken 8 seems to finally be changing that, and I'm a big fan of her redesign. The boss character in this game, Unknown, is her twisted alter ego. The difference between her and the other mimic characters like Mokujin in combat is she can change fighting styles on the fly with a single press of a button. There's this mysterious wolf spirit possessing her that mimics all of her movements as well, so you can imagine how janky it looks sometimes. Tetsujin is just a silver version of our favorite tree warrior, Mokujin. Fuck Tekken 7 for not having Mokujin. Beck is often misunderstood as being a Hwoarang clone, but that couldn't be any further from the truth. His style is much more rugged and raw than Hwo's. Instead of mixing with 4 stances, he only has 1, but is much more string heavy, and is good at fishing for counter hits. He also leans more towards Tangsudo, the traditional Korean style of karate. Or at least that's what I read when I looked it up on Reddit. I don't know, that fool could have been lying. Brian had a bald head Mr. Clean outfit, and his laugh in the older Tekkens was pretty wicked. Then Ling Xiaoyu, my main, and the funnest character in all of Tekken. She's not too different from her Tekken 3 iteration, but she doesn't have her busted normal hit launcher anymore, and all these goddamn godfists can hit her out of AOP. Her grandpa Wang tags along, bringing some old school kung fu with him, but because of how the health system worked, he has a pathetic amount of stamina. Like some GTA NPC shit, a fly will fucking land on his shoulder and he'll collapse. Who else haven't I name dropped yet? We have a dinosaur and a kangaroo with boxing gloves that can Shoryuken. KAZUYA's guardian angel, she plays the exact same as Devil. 3 Jacks for some godforsaken reason. Tiger Jackson with the cloud goggles. Gonryu being creepy as ever. The Williams sister stepping on dudes. Anna is pretty good in this game. I think this is the one game where Anna is better than Nina, but feel free to correct me. Yoshimitsu looking fly as ever, and his protege Kunimitsu trying to mug him for his sword. Prototype Jack is said to be the worst character in Tekken history, for a multitude of reasons I don't gotta get into. But someone made it to top 8 at EVO 2005 using him and Wang, so anything is possible. Did you know that Hwarang and Beck can switch between left and right handed while bowling? Or that you can knock out Dr. Boskanovich if you aim slightly off screen to the left? Or that OGRES flames do nothing to the jacks? Yeah, it's pretty weird to drop that kind of knowledge out of nowhere, but I had no idea where else to fit it since this video is already bloated as is. Alright, damn, I'm finally done with this video. I finally have enough storage space to reinstall Fortnite. And for 2 people that wondered if I had given up or something, since I haven't posted in like half a year, nah, I've just been doing me. Actually, I was working on a video covering Sakura from Street Fighter's appearances in every single fighting game she's been featured in detail. But just when I had 2 games left, I kinda felt like I had no idea what I was talking about, so I just scrapped the project. Maybe I'll revisit in the future, or post what's left of it on the second channel, I don't know, if anyone cares. I'm already working on my next video, and it ain't on the fighting game specifically. It's gonna be discussing the pre-rendered cutscenes featured on the PS1, but that also includes some fighting games, so yeah, it's still a fighting game video. After that, I'm thinking Tatsunoko vs Capcom. Maybe. And with all that being said, thank you so much for giving this video a chance. Peace.